Hi guys, this is gsno.com and I'm here with the unboxing of the POCO X3 Pro. So as you know, at the end of 2020, POCO was externalized from Xiaomi, much like the Redmi company. And it has become its own entity. It's been launching phones ever since, like the POCO X3 NFC and the POCO M3. And now we got the POCO X3 Pro. Priced at $250, it's supposed to be an upgrade from the POCO X3, especially in the CPU department. We have this little leaflet which welcomes us and the typical POCO identity which involves yellow and black as the main colors. In the box we have this envelope for the case and manuals, and the star of the show is the phone. Now, as you can see, the core pattern of the back hasn't changed very much from the POCO X3. It still has the racing stripe here and the DSLR inspired camera module which hosts a quad camera setup. It feels like a pretty hefty phone, and as I said before, the biggest upgrade is the jump to a brand new CPU. Snapdragon 860 is the first time I'm seeing it in action. It's actually more of a Snapdragon 855++. Okay, so I'm going to put the phone here for now, and as it boots up, don't worry, I've already set it up. Let's see what's inside the box. So the device was unveiled a few weeks ago. And inside the box we have this key used to access the slots, and aside from that we have a bunch of stickers, the obvious manual and warranty card, plus a case which has a pretty generous hole at the back side which lets you basically use the camera. Now we go to the actual innards of the box for the last two accessories. This is a charger which promises up to 33 watts charging, and it has an USB-A connector. It's quite hefty and I expect good things from it. And this is a USB-C to USB-A cable which hooks up to the charger and to the PC if need be. Okay, so that's pretty much it. All the accessories we're expecting are here. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share our video, and keep in mind we also have unboxed recently the POCO F3 in case you want to see another one of our videos. Now back to the phone we have here. It's got a glass at the front side and a plastic back which feels a bit slippery at first touch. As I said before, it's got the whole racing stripe in the middle and the POCO branding here. The facade glass has Gorilla Glass 6 protection, which is a bit of good news, and the phone itself is pretty protected with IP53 certification, protecting it against dust and splashes of liquids. It measures a hefty 9.4 millimeters in thickness. It has a protruding camera, as you can see, and weighs 215 grams, dangerously close to the battery phone area and also close to the, well, gaming phone department. Those ones are the ones who weigh as much usually. Okay, I think it's time to access our website so you know what we're dealing with here, gsno.com. Now, as far as the screen is concerned, let's turn up the brightness a little bit. We're dealing here with an IPS LCD, 6.67 inches, Full HD Plus resolution, and 120 Hz refresh rate, which we also saw on the POCO X3. A welcome feature is the support for HDR10, and now it's time to go inside the phone where we find the, well, really interesting functionality, the new CPU. As you can see here, it's listed as the Snapdragon 855+. It's actually the 860, a 7nm octa-core chip, which should be clocked a bit higher. It's got Adreno 640 GPU, and let's see what we're dealing with in terms of RAM. So we have 6 gigs of RAM and 120 gigabytes of storage. There are also versions of this phone which offer you 8 gigs of RAM and double the amount of storage. The good news is that I did some digging and it's actually the good kind of storage. It's UFS 3.1, believe it or not, which is kind of shocking to see for this price tag. Another piece of good news, we have a microSD card slot on board, and the cutout you see here at the top side is a selfie shooter 20 megapixel camera. Now if we go to the back side, as I said before, when Xiaomi came up with this camera module, this design, which is also present on the Xiaomi Mi 10T Lite, more or less, they were inspired by a DSLR. That's the design inspiration for the module. Now the camera itself is a quad one, a bit of a downgrade from the POCO X3 NFC, 48 megapixel main shooter, 8 megapixel ultra-wide, 2 megapixel macro, 2 megapixel bokeh. It shoots 4K video in 30 frames per second and it has an LED flash here. I should probably also mention that the device comes in phantom black, frost blue, and a special sort of bronze. But back to the cameras, let's check out quickly the camera interface. There's one thing I remember from the lighter version of it, the fact that it created some pretty nifty 4K videos with quite the amount of detail. The camera interface is pretty much as we left it. We have a portrait mode, we have the more section with quite a few features, including dual video, slow-mo, night, short video, vlog, long exposure, 48 megapixel, and a few more. This is the photo area. You can trigger AI functionality and you can find your macro mode here on the side. Plus, don't forget about tilt shift. We have video, where you can definitely see that we have 4K 30 frames per second and even macro video, and a pro mode where you can set up your exposure, ISO, shutter, focus, and white balance. And from what I can see, the video also gets a pro mode, which is welcome at this price tag. I think we've covered the camera enough for now. What I want to cover as well is the fact that we're getting stereo speakers. So there is this one at the bottom next to the USB-C port, microphone, and audio jack. And we also have one at the top. I'm guessing it's in the grill here, just above the front camera, because I don't see extra holes here. The holes I do see are for the infrared emitter, microphone, and an extra one here, which I have yet to figure out. Now, for security, we have a fingerprint scanner embedded into the power button on the side, which, from what I remember, I memorized already. So if I press with this finger, it does nothing. If I press with this one, it unlocks it with my fingerprint. Now, aside from that, we have typical connectivity options, Wi-Fi dual band, Bluetooth 5.0. There's also GPS and infrared and USB-C 2.0. You probably think I forgot about the battery. I actually didn't. It's generous, 5160 mAh and 33 watts charging. Judging from what I've seen from Xiaomi recently, it should charge up pretty fast. And once again, 3 color choices, and just in case you're wondering, we're running on Android 11 with MIUI 12 on top. Among others, this means that you'll be able to trigger that sort of control center like thingy here, inspired by iOS, and separate it from the notification area. One thing I do want to find here is if we have NFC or not. Yes, we do have NFC, which is important for payments. Okay, so I think this is pretty much it for now. We'll be back with a full review. I'm pretty curious about the gaming experience considering the CPU, and let's see what the default is for the refresh rate. Guess what? From the factory, you have it set to 60 Hz, and it's only when you set it to 120 Hz that you'll feel its proper snappiness. It actually feels a bit snappier than what we've seen so far throughout this unboxing, but I'm going to look into it further and come back with more details. So this is the POCO X3 Pro, just unboxed for you. I'll be taking camera shots. My first impressions are that it's a pretty heavy phone, slightly slippery, and the screen just seems a bit improved from the POCO X3. I'll have to actually do some measurements to see if that's true or not. Now, this bulkiness is justified by the battery, so don't be upset by it. This is it from us. Bye bye.